What's up, guys? This is Phil, and I'm hosting the first annual inaugural Game Theory Insights podcast. And today I've got some lovely guests. I've got 3 lovely guests, actually. Well, 2 lovely guests and Simon. So would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about yourselves?
Hello, I'm Sam. I don't really play much games, but I played Battlefront 2 when I was younger, and that's really good.
I'm Simon. I love boats and I love rocks, and I also love Blizzard games.
He loves them. I'm Phil. This is going to get confusing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so... Well, you'll know me by the sound of my voice. It's different to Phil's. So yeah, I'm Phil.
Okay, cool. Today we're going to be talking about eSports and sports and how similar they are, and we're also going to be talking about microtransactions in video games. And maybe there'll be some banter along the way as well. Who knows? But first, we're going to talk about our big news topic of the day, which isn't really news, but it's talking about the new Star Wars Battlefront game, which has been announced. First of all, it's called Star Wars Battlefront, which is another in a long line of games being called
Star Wars Battlefront.
the same name as it's being called the same name as a game as just the series. So it's like Tomb Raider was just called Tomb Raider. It's getting quite confusing. Like, I don't know if you're like, I want to play Star Wars Battlefront. Do you want to play Star Wars Battlefront, the original one, or the new one, or I mean, you can never be sure. But we got up a list of differences between Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, has everyone?
Oh, there's quite a lot. I think I've seen this list.
Yeah,
there's
a lot. I've
of
seen this list.
Has
There's
everyone
people
played?
raging about the one which is yet to be released in comparison to the most recent.
Everyone's played Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Wait, there are only 8 total maps?
We'll get on to that. So everyone's played it. We all know.
What about
the kind of thing
Star
is.
Wars Battlefront on Nintendo DS?
Never
I have to
played
admit,
it.
I have
Was
not.
that-
That
Okay.
sounds
Yeah.
wonderful.
It was third person.
Honestly,
It was alright.
Okay, I rate that. It was third person. Most people played it in third person anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Like, first person looked a bit weird because I got it on PC last year and it looked odd first person. But yeah, no. The thing is, like, it just looks like they've taken a lot of stuff out of this game. Because first of all, like, the big thing a lot of people are saying about it is you can't play any prequel. There's no prequel stuff in it at all, according to what we've seen released.
Just to
especially.
clarify, when we say prequel,
we mean
That's one-
Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
The other
Attack of
two.
Clones.
Attack of the Clones.
That's it.
Thank you, Sam.
oh, flipping out.
Don't break it.
So it's only including the classic 3 movies.
Yes, which I mean, the first 3 movies were better than the second 3 movies. But having said that, you'd prefer the 4.
You just like a different variety.
Yeah, but what about the
of maps.
clones?
Yeah.
They're pretty
Clones are a
pro.
big part
They're
of,
pretty
like,
pro.
You wouldn't want to miss out on the clones.
What about the
The
clones?
clones are in.
The clones are
Well,
in
they're
the.
not- are they?
Well, they're not.
They're not
They're
in the sequel.
stormtroopers, but they're not really
They're
clones.
not the same as
Same.
clones. Yeah, but you don't get droids either. Like the droidicas and stuff like that are all cut out.
Well, exactly, you're missing out.
And also,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like planets and stuff that were only introduced in the new films.
The thing is, though, I think
Like
that.
that flipping. What about the? Oh, sorry, I sort of.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if we're allowed to go onto this yet, but I'm doing it anyway. So this table which you've got here details that...
There'll be links in the description
Yeah.
as well.
So it details that there are 5
in the
planned DLC packs. And my theory is that a lot of the stuff which is currently not included in the game will be in those DLC
No, I
packs.
think it's going to be cheeky as well because there's 3 new Star Wars films, aren't there?
That is also true.
Well,
So-
there's 5 DLC packs.
Yeah, but what are the other 2? Map packs? Is it just me map pack or is it going to be like proper expansion?
I think there'll be proper expansions.
Wait, there's
They
no
might
campaign?
add like maps and droids and clones like
So,
in one pack. or
Wouldn't you
something.
expect that from the game itself?
You would.
Like,
You
if you're buying a first-person shooter, like if you're going to buy a new Halo game or whatever, and you want to play online, is 8 total maps enough?
No.
How many maps
Or
are there?
like with
A lot.
a game from a franchise, you'd expect to have the whole franchise.
Yeah, that's what I'd have thought. Like, unless it's stated like a Harry Potter game, you could have Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and that'd be one game for one movie. That's
Yeah.
fine. But what they've done here is they've said Star Wars Battlefront. They haven't said Star Wars Battlefront the original
saga,
Or
like in the Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Lego Star Wars have done it correctly.
That's a great comparison.
because they've got both films in separate sections, as it were. So you've got both. But does this mean that they're going to release Star Wars Battlefront, and then is Star Wars Battlefront 2 in brackets? So the second Star Wars Battlefront 2, as it were, going to just be the new stuff?
Did the original
I hope
Battlefront
not.
have all 6 films?
The original Battlefront did.
I think it did.
Yes, it
I
did.
think I remember playing
The second one definitely.
The second one
did.
certainly
I don't know when the
There's
original
an
one
easy
did.
way to find out. Did it have Wookiees and droids?
What are you talking about? I don't know.
It must have had all six.
I can have a look.
Because there aren't any Wookiees in the prequel.
No, I think I remember playing.
No, there is. In
What about
episode
Chewbacca?
3, there
Is
is.
Chewie in episode? Chewie's
No,
not-
but in
episode
Kashyyyk,
3, they go to Kashyyyk.
Chewbacca is actually in
Oh.
the episode 3.
Well,
you're late.
Well, get
I've
over-
been
get
mugged
over.
off. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I'll have to find the bloomin'.
Why did you just type in Star Wars?
Oh, come
Star Wars
thick, okay.
Battlefront.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
so
that one.
we'll have a look. I'm pretty sure that it had both, but I'm not sure. Because, I mean, I don't know what this is going to add as a game. Like, what big thing it's going to add to the franchise. Because, I mean, the second one added space battles and whatever, didn't it? No, it must have had both.
Is it 100% purely like multiplayer?
Well, I think that's what it is. Because
Is it 100%
if you
multiplayer?
go back onto the thing, there was no Galactic Conquest.
Yeah, there's no Galactic
Yeah.
Conquest, there's no
There's no
campaign,
campaign.
and there's no instant action, which
Okay,
is
so
single player.
it's like the Blacklight Retribution of
Of-
Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah, but it costs.
Oh. But that's the best part of Blacklight Retribution is that it doesn't cost.
Yeah, well, that's the only good thing about Black Knight Retribution. Let's be honest.
Not frosty reception for Blacklight.
I'm not
if
a
you
huge
look at
fan.
it, the game is
Yeah.
released as a conquest game, so it kind of feels like
Yeah.
this Battlefront
Star Wars
is, like,
Battlefront
taken out.
encompasses battles between 4 main factions
Yes, so it's
from both the original and prequel trilogies.
That was a good game as well. It was a bit of a classic. But of course, these are. I don't know if this game is becoming more Battlefield. Because Battlefield and Battlefront, like the comparison's been drawn,
Yes.
hasn't it? Because it's all about like the capture point game modes rather than the deathmatch game modes a lot of the time.
But Battlefield has a campaign.
It does, that's true. But the campaign on PC is always broken as hell, and it's
it
all about
is
the multiplayer. So I think
I
they just
wouldn't know.
It's
they've
horrendous.
cut out the
Okay.
middleman and just got rid of the campaigns. So it's just the multiplayer game, which is fine. Multiplayer games only can work if they're good enough.
But
Only
isn't
8 maps, I think it get quite boring.
Isn't
That's
this
true.
essentially
Yes.
them like buying Battlefront with like a load of Star Wars custom packs?
Yeah,
Like just custom
essentially.
skins and
But
weapons.
also, like stuff like this, it's not even moddable. There's no space battles either. No space battles. They were the best bit.
Well then, surely you could just get a much cheaper mod.
Much cheaper mod.
Yeah, as in like you could just get a mod of something else.
Yeah, you could get like an armor mod.
Yeah.
And I've seen armor mods for Star Wars as well and stuff like that. But it seems odd that they would do this to this franchise.
What you doing, EA?
Exactly. Is it EA?
It is.
Yes,
course
it
it
is.
is.
It is
Of
EA.
course it's EA.
EA has.
It's EA and DICE, and DICE are the ones who make Battlefield, aren't they?
Who would Dice?
DICE.
Dice.
They're like rolling of dice.
Do
They're-
they make?
I think they make Battlefield. I'm
Do they
pretty
work
sure.
with Hasbro? I feel like they go well.
I feel like
Someone appreciate
they
that.
work. They should stop making video games and start helping with board games. I feel like that would be a big advance for them. But I don't know. This game, I don't think it's going to be as good. Like, there's
It looks. Well, I say
Graphically.
it looks. We haven't
from
seen
the
any
tra-
gameplay.
We have seen
It-
Have we
gameplay
seen
footage
gameplay?
from the trailer.
I thought that was only cinematic.
It was with the engine. But
Oh,
that's-
okay, I
that's
see.
cheap, is it cinematic? But it looks nice.
Yes, it looks far superior graphically.
But then again, it has been several years, so
It's been 10
Yeah.
years.
But it's very, very interesting to see that they've taken such a huge step back, as it were. Like even like the loadout system that they're looking at, that was like PSP era Star Wars Battlefront. Did you play the Star Wars Battlefront on PSP?
I didn't
Played
have
on
PSP,
PS2.
so
They were
No,
not-
I've played the PS2
The
one. I don't
PSP
have
ones
the
were
PSP.
different because you could make a custom loadout for your character. So you had like your weapon, you chose your weapons for your class. You're like, oh, I like the pistol that you get with this class, but I like the weapon you get with this class, or I like having the heavy weapon, but I also like having the thing that fixes vehicles. So you could do that in the PSP version. But my PSP is broken, so I can't play it anymore. But
so Phil can't do it.
it seems like we've gone back to that. But they were what everyone wanted. Like, let's be real, everyone wanted a graphical reskin of Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe with another campaign.
Yes.
Yeah.
What they're doing here is not that.
Unless it's in the DLC. Which is
Which you
what-
will have
what
to-
we said earlier.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
even if
exactly.
they
Well,
do
there's not going to be a campaign in the DLC though.
There might be. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
That's just such a, I don't know. I
It's
feel
such an
like
odd
that's
thing.
such a big part of the game to leave out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like some games it's like GTA 5. They started as just a single player game, and then they were like, oh, we've added multiplayer later, and well, yeah, we've added heists, which was like a huge selling point for that game in multiplayer. Really, after that, So it's like, I don't want them drip feeding us content. I want them to give us all the content at once.
Yeah.
Or at least be like, okay, here's our setup plan. Here's what we're going to release when.
Release day DLC as much as we love.
Well, EA have been.
We all love release day DLC.
What I don't want is, I don't want this to be The Sims. Like The Sims 4, they released it without like anything. They were like, oh, you can buy all this stuff. Yeah, that's going to be fun and completely acceptable to everyone. But The Sims have been doing that for ages. But it's just, come on, EA, get your ass together.
Another thing that there might be is that they're just like, let's put all the core elements of the game together and release it as quickly as possible just to get it on the shelves.
Yeah, but why rush it?
I don't know.
Is this game going to get an early access? Because I know that's what we all love, early access.
We
Why
do.
do that?
I do love my Heroes of the Storm.
This is us putting in a good word for ourselves. If you're looking for early access candidates, you know
I'll review it and everything, or not review it if you don't want to review it. I'll do both. I can review and not review at the same time. I can say it's good. In fact, if you pay me, I'll say it's really good. 10 out of 10 would rate. I'm not against shilling.
That was such a shameless war.
I'll do it. I don't mind. The thing is, people say they're like, "Oh, I wouldn't do that." You would if you got paid enough. You
That was such a shameless advertisement. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty.
Are you saying you wouldn't? I know. Like, if I did it, I'd make it abundantly clear I was doing it. I'd be like, by the way, I've been paid to give this game 10 out of 10, but I'm giving it 10 out of 10.
It's like, on the upside, I love this game. Because I'm being, but...
It's like, I'm being paid to say it's great, and it's great. That's what I do. So I make it abundantly clear.
Well, you know what they say, you should always advertise like shameless whores.
Is that what they say?
Who says that?
It is what they say.
Is that Simon?
Is that you? Is that thing you just say?
Well, I did just say it.
Yeah.
So,
what are our current, just to sum up this bit, what are our current thoughts on Star Wars Battlefront, the new one? Let's start with Sam. What are your current thoughts?
Disappointed.
Disappointed. Simon, in a word, the new Star Wars Battlefront.
I mean, it looks good, but I'm
In a word.
disappointed.
In a word, Simon.
Bit of a letdown.
That's many words, but we'll allow it. Phil, in a word.
EA! What are you doing? What are you doing, EA?
My word would be 2 words, and it'd be no droidekeers, and it'd have a sad face.
That's 2 words. What? I thought that's what Simon
Yeah, well, I'm the host, so I can do what I want.
Oh.
You want me to invite you back, then? Sorry. So now we've put that one to light. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully we won't see it in early access on Steam tomorrow, when it's not done. I can imagine.
Wait, don't you mean on Origin?
No, I mean on. Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh no. Absolute shocker.
That's so sad.
It actually is.
What are our views on Origin? How do we
I
feel?
think Origin's alright as a service. Like the amount of games you can get on it is appalling, and the cost of those games never really. Although sometimes they go down a lot because EA is sad they're not selling their
Yes.
games. But on the other hand, the customer service on Origin is far superior to Steam because Gabe Newell hates you.
Oh.
Personally, Phil. I was looking at Phil. No one else.
So you gave me a Dota 2 basically.
Phil, he gave everyone at least 17 Dota 2 beta keys.
Well, yeah, but that was after. It was before the point where everyone just had so many beta keys. Where you'd open your webmail and it would just be like 7 different Steam emails.
So
you've got a Dota 2 beta key. Phil, they're a beta key. I was like, Steve, please.
No, I got mine.
I know, Steve.
I got mine out of a PC Gamer magazine. It was like, have a Dota 2 beta key. And I was like, so that was good. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Origin, but having said that, maybe it'll work for Battlefront, and maybe the always on DRM. It will be, won't it?
It will.
I'll be honest, I used to hate Origin, and then after, because I basically only use Origin for FIFA. Let's clear that out right now. FIFA's the only EA game that I play on a regular basis.
On Origin.
And so, yeah, I used to hate Origin from the first time I opened Need for Speed and was like, right, I can't wait to play this game. And it was like, you got to install Origin. And I was like, what the? I've just paid for this. I've got it on the disc. Why? Right. So I've always had a thing for not liking Origin. But since they started giving away free games,
yeah, they do. They do give away free games.
They're creeping up, my opinion.
The quality of free games they gave away is sometimes a bit.
They gave away Battlefield 3.
Great.
No, that was I got that in a Humbug, but I don't know if they gave it away.
I got that when they had the SimCity mess up.
Yes,
Or Apple
that-
SimCity.
SimCity.
Because when they released SimCity,
They put it on always on DRM, so that means that the internet, you're required to have the server on to play that game. The servers crashed on the opening day, so no one could play the game properly.
Yeah.
So EA were like, we fucked up. So they
Gave
gave away Battlefield 3.
No, they gave you a selection of one free game, and Battlefield 3 was one of these games.
I didn't have SimCity at that point, so I didn't get one. But having said that, I've already got Battlefield 3, and it's Anyway, let's move on. not have a discussion. So we're going to talk about.
Sam's just like had his head in the book for like.
He doesn't love it.
Is that the Spanish Armada right there?
No, it's
No.
It's Henry's fleet for France.
You're thick. Okay, so we're going to talk about video games and sport now. More controversially, eSports. I didn't ask about this one yesterday to date this video horribly. This video, audio, horribly. It might be a video, who knows? But
Can I have like one of the like funny pictures for things we say?
I like.
So like when
say.
someone says like.
Bring me that pig! That's not funny.
I don't know, like now I can't think of one, but when someone says something hilarious, there can be like a witty picture.
That I do on Paint because we're not allowed to use copyrighted pictures.
Well, you can take them yourself. We'll source them.
Okay.
We'll source them ourselves.
Maybe we'll see.
When I use
And then in the
when I
filler
use
gap,
the
you can
word,
just have pictures of.
when I say hot
like, your
chicks, I'll
face.
like go to my garden and take a picture of the chicken.
That would work.
And we can have
That'd be great.
That actually was.
Anyway, esports and sports. So there's a lot of controversy. I don't know how much controversy there is, but there's certainly been some controversy at some point about video games and esports and sports, and if they're a sport and if they're a thing, and if it's acceptable to call them a sport or you have to call them not a sport, or if an esport is a sport, and it's all very confusing. I know.
All kinds of madness.
I know that certainly some big video game commentators have talked about it recently, like Toto Biscuit made a video on it, or an audio log on it at some stage in the last week. I haven't watched it yet though. I'll get around to that, I'm unprofessional. He just got some free advertising there, he owes us. But it's very, I don't know, before we go into discussion, do you want to just go around and like say, we'll start with Phil this time, are video games a sport?
Alright, I'm gonna, seeing as I feel like all of you are gonna say they're not, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate and say I can see why people think that they should be.
Okay, Simon, do you want to?
I wouldn't call them a sport, I'd call them an e-sport.
Ooh, I like what you did there. And Sam?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That hates it.
Sam's like, no, definitely not. So we got like a good spread of opinion on this. I'm very much in the Simon, like, they're an e-sport, they should be an e-sport, not a sport. But it's very, why, I don't know why precisely there needs to be this conflict over what they're called. Like, what difference would it make if we called them a sport to anyone at all?
They wouldn't really.
I think the players can be like, we're athletes.
No, but
Yeah.
if you look at some of the League of Legends players,
There's not.
they're like, we're athletes. Everyone will be like, you're not though, are you? Are you?
All guys is eating chips.
I'm
No,
not
most of them
sure.
are like quite thin.
Yeah,
Some of them aren't though.
they're like the same build as me, and there's nothing on me.
Yeah, but
There's
like,
nothing on me.
would you
You
class
are
yourself
pretty-
as an athlete?
No. It's possibly a sailing athlete.
You have
probably not.
won a sailing race.
Yeah, I did win one of the first leg of one of the world's largest sailing races, just putting out there.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Thank you.
But the thing is, like, would you
Call me
class? Okay, like
Shameless
Would it class-
self-promotion from Simon.
athletes need to be like physically fit, don't they?
Do you reckon? What about if you classified a sport that makes you an athlete as could you get athlete's foot by doing it?
You can get athlete's foot by a lot of things, like injecting athlete's foot into your foot.
Well, there you go.
That doesn't make
That's,
sense.
that's a medical
If
procedure.
you're playing like a full solid week of like gaming without like taking off your socks,
That's
That's
so
That would
gross.
really
You might
Oh,
get-
that's
That's true,
nasty.
actually. No, but you can do.
But more to the point, you would be dead.
That's also
No,
true.
no,
You get like
you never
food
said you wouldn't
delivered to
eat
you,
or
and you get like.
eat or
No,
sleep.
you said like when you said a solid week.
Do you mean like a solid week of
like-
just video gaming and
However
nothing
like
else?
yeah, just like sitting in your dark, gloomy sort of room.
But
Do you
it's
eat
like-
and
It's
sleep
such
and
a
drink
sad
and
picture of
urinate?
gamers, like
Well-
in the basement, like.
That
I
is
think,
my main
I think
picture.
you've touched on like the main problem with this.
Sam,
I
have
think
you ever played a game?
Well, yeah, no, I do.
I think that's the issue. I think gamers are like a lot of gamers like we want this to be. I think a lot of the outspoken ones, especially, are like we want this to be a sport because then we're not. We're athletes. Like it paints a picture of us like being cool and like the finals of League of Legends or whatever. It pictures that rather than a guy sitting in a dark, dank room, smelling of BO and having Dorito stains all over their keyboard. That's like. But I feel like those people who are like, oh my word, it's so bad. Do people have that perception of video games?
Sam does.
Other than
Damn it, Sam.
Maybe he's disproved my title.
When I come in to my ICT lessons and my computing lessons after lunch, there's always be like some like gamers there, and they will literally do as you just said, just have like keyboard stains full of like food. The colours would have
Wait,
been
is that
down.
here?
No, that was at Hideout.
Oh, okay.
Shout out.
Right, and like the curtains would always be down. It's already all like dark and gloomy and like.
We don't like glare, do
stank.
Yeah, no one's that glare.
The other day I was sat like covering my eyes from the sun so I could see my screen properly.
So maybe the perception of video gamers that the current like old people have, or whatever. Maybe it's valid. Maybe it's completely acceptable. No, I mean like
You're like the youngest here.
Yeah.
you hold the perception of what old people think video games are. Like I think if you're a professional League of Legends player, I feel like within the certain demographic you'd be famous. But if if who's the most famous? Ex-Peke might be one of the most famous League of Legends players in the world.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I don't know any famous League of Legends players.
But imagine, who would you say is the most famous League of Legends player, Phil? Or the most famous League of Legends like personality?
Maybe like Civ HD, maybe?
Like Civ HD or something. If Civ HD walked up to you, you'd have probably a fanboy moment, wouldn't you? Like, oh my god, Civ HD! If Civ HD walked up to your dad would have no clue who he was, would he?
No, probably not.
But like, that's the thing, is like, but if, say, Lionel Messi walked up to you, you'd have a fanboy
But
moment.
isn't that just like a question of viewership? Like, it's just, I mean, obviously, like, more people watch the World Cup than watch.
But I think that's something that comes into it. I think maybe because gaming is like such a...
It's quite a niche market for
but
watching.
How big is that niche? Is it huge? Is it a huge niche?
I don't think it is.
Girthy?
Because
like girthy niche. Can we get a picture of that? Can we get a witty picture?
The Girthy Niche Podcast.
please
I
can
love
we
it.
not?
I love
Or
it.
you can make that the title of this episode.
Girthy niches.
Anyway,
And more.
Look, I was trying to make a point.
Sorry,
before
before I
girthy
come in
niche.
with the girthy niches.
I was saying that within the niche of watching other people play games, there's the niche of the specific game as well.
It's nicheception.
Yes, so I do watch people play games. Shall I give some examples? I don't know if I'm allowed to.
I feel like they're getting free advertising for it, so I don't see why not. We're not,
Okay.
we're not being
Well, I
sponsored, so
love
there's
Jesse
Yeah,
Cox
I
and
love
Wild Crendor are great.
I love Wild Crendor.
It's so funny.
You're making it worse.
Okay,
Move on.
but like for example, they don't really play League
Yeah,
that
that's
much.
another
But I
It's-
wouldn't watch League.
It's
Like
also a niche of like, do you watch competitive? Like you wouldn't argue that what, like, let's say Wild Crendor or Jesse Cox, we already shilled them a little bit, Nerd Cube, someone like that. You wouldn't.
Just get them all in it. Get them all. PewDiePie, living KSI, everyone. Get in here, boys.
It's like, no, but like you wouldn't view any of those as competitive games. Would
Whoa, flippin' heck, what was that?
you wouldn't class any of those as competitive gamers, would you?
No,
But you would. But like, and you wouldn't say what they're doing is sport. Really, Phil standing on the table.
Wait, okay.
Are you okay?
We might be about to get interrupted by some cleaning ladies, so if that happens, apologies.
It's only 2:45.
I love it.
Should be alright.
But what people who are like play professionally and play
It's
for like,
4:45.
big
It's 4:45.
crowds.
Three, come on.
I said 2:45.
Well, we have all
we
new
have
evidence,
all new evidence.
so I guess we'll find
I'll
out.
keep you to that.
But it's all about what type of gamer it is, isn't it? Because you don't see people shouting around. You don't see PewDiePie like, "I am an athlete."
Yeah.
But and in fact, I would argue you don't see any of these players shouting from around about say athletes?
No.
Would you? It's not them. They're not saying this is a sport. I think what they care about is investment in what they're like. I think they're like, we want this to be cultured into its own thing.
Yeah.
As long as there's money here and we can make our living here and people are enjoying it, I don't think we mind what it's called. Which is the right attitude to have, I think. In my opinion, opinions. That was a stroke out. But the people who are arguing and shouting about it seem to be people who are like, maybe people who are on the fringes of professionalism, I'd like to say. Like, you wouldn't see someone, in League of Legends terms, you wouldn't see a professional player saying, this is a sport, I'm an athlete. But you'd see someone who's attempting to get to that, saying that it's a sport, they're an athlete. Because they maybe want to legitimise their career choice to their parents.
Yes.
Brutally slamming, like. So if you're going pro, Phil doesn't even.
No, I think that we need professional League of Legends. I feel like we need professional players. I feel like we need professional gamers. But you're not an athlete, and I could probably beat you in a wrestling match. Unless they're
that's brave. That's an open challenge.
Unless they are.
No, that's not
huge.
It's like it's just some like wrestler was like, I want to play Dota. It's like, oh god. No, I feel like those are the people who are like, we need to feel like we need to legitimise our career choice. It's your career choice, not someone else's. They can deal with it. And like your parents disown you then, I mean. Oh no, because they pay for Wi-Fi. Oh no.
Pay maybe your own Wi-Fi.
That's true.
Get a job.
No, but their job is to play League.
Well then pay. Why doesn't that like
become a pizza delivery?
League, like as a business venture, right? For a business to be profitable, you have to be covering your costs, right? If your league's not paying for the cost of your Wi-Fi,
you need a new job.
Yeah.
Your pizza delivery boy by day, League champion by night.
League champion. Like by day you're this, by night you're Skarner. You just get into your house and become a huge scorpion. It's like I'd rate that. I think that's good. But I think this is all covered in the article. So I mean just go read that at my blog. That'll be
shameless.
This is going on the blog. This is named after the blog.
I thought it was called Girthy Niche.
It might.
No, that's just the title of the episode. It's fine.
Oh man. But okay, so let's go around. We'll start with Sam this time.
Sam hasn't said much.
Have you got anything to contribute, though, Sam? You've been a bit quiet, but you were.
I had no idea what's going on.
Okay, we'll go around. After we've heard,
time.
let's see what your opinion is now. Are eSports sports?
No.
Okay, still no. Simon, in one word, are eSports sports?
eSports.
Okay, I love it. And Phil, in one word, are eSports sports? Okay, cool. I think that's precisely how a lot of people feel about the issue.
Yeah.
Now, and lastly, our last topic of the day, which I commented on, which I've forgotten. Oh, microtransactions in video games. It's not going to be a conversation of if they're good or not and if they should be acceptable, because no one cares about our opinions on that, because EA's still going to do it regardless. And
EA!
Everyone's going to do it.
And Riot is still going to do it, and Blizzard is still going to do it. Everyone's going to be absolutely criminal about it. But what I want to
just to clarify, microtransactions are when you like buy
it's
currency
when you buy stuff in
with
game.
currency.
Yeah. Or you can buy items with currency.
Okay.
That's real currency
Yes.
as well.
So it's paying real money to gain an in-game item or benefit.
What about microtransactions the other way around? As in, you can exchange virtual.
Yes.
That is so
Blizzard have recently done that.
You can't you buy gameplay hours with in-game currency?
Yeah, so that you don't have to buy your gameplay time with real.
You can buy your subscription with in-game currency. So if you're good enough at the game, you play it enough, you can pay to play.
You're then stuck in an endless cycle of
if you stop playing
it in order to build up the gold.
You have to keep playing.
It's like if I stop playing, I have to stop playing. It's like but what? It's like, but you stop. What?
So I'll stop playing, but now I'm going to have to pay money. It's like, just delete your account. I can't. What if Warlords of Draenor has a new expansion? It's like, Warlords of Draenor is an
literally
expansion.
Simon. That's like...
Mate,
Simon.
when the new patch comes out, I've already seen the patch notes. I'm like, oh my gosh.
No, so, okay, I'm going to have two questions. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up an image. Okay. For those of you who want to play along at home, I'm going to get up a picture of a new skin for League of Legends. So I'm going to get up a picture of let's say quite okay. Let's not use this.
Of
as
some
a-
hot chicks.
All right, that's
Yeah, that's.
you should on that end, didn't you? What's the latest skin on League of Legends film? You must know this.
I don't know. Oh, it's.
Oh no!
flipping-
Here's the fiddle.
What about the Teemo one?
Here's the newest Fiddlestick skin. Okay, Risen Fiddlesticks. For those of you at home playing at home, you can look up Risen Fiddlesticks.
It's a great big scarecrow.
Okay, it's just a scarecrow. Okay, this is the skin that gets
That's not
used
better.
And this is the splash art for the skin in League of Legends.
Oh,
I'll show you the
Why is that one
I'll show you
image
the
quality
image of
so much lower than? It's gone.
I'll show you the image of his in-game image of it in-game. Okay, so this is what you get for your money. Okay, this guy here,
Whoa, flipping heck.
this change. This
He's like a bubble.
okay, this which is a change of his original skin. Now I want to ask
He looks pretty badass, just saying.
how much you'd pay for that in real currency terms.
If I had to.
If you had to buy it.
Like if I okay.
No, this is if you had to buy this skin. How much would you be willing and able to pay for this skin?
I'd say like £1 or £2 max.
Okay, okay, so £1 or £2.
Wouldn't, not very much.
So how much would you be willing?
I'd
to
go
pay?
lower. I'd go like 50p.
Yeah.
50p. Sam, what would you?
Refuse to pay.
Sam would be like, no, I'm not doing it. Well, we're gonna have a look up.
You've already paid your money to buy the game.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, League of Legends
But
is
it's
a free
cosmetics.
Oh, side block.
game. Okay,
Smooth
we're
one.
not gonna be able to find out.
Hang on, shall
Hey,
I?
Sam, do you wanna,
shall I
Sam, do you
Google it
wanna-
on my phone?
Do you want to look up how much
Did
it
you call
costs?
Simon Sam?
I call him Sam
Sat-
actually.
Satya might be smooth.
So, look, I wouldn't be willing to pay more than £1 for that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, how much is that
No,
going to
absolutely.
improve the enjoyment of your game? Like,
Well,
sort
that's
of
the
cost
thing.
benefit, isn't it?
I think people like I think people like overvalue cosmetics. Like for me, like how it looks. It looks that this particular game looks, I think, like good enough as is, without needing to look different. I think for me the gameplay is kind of more important than how it looks.
Yeah,
Anyway, so
I feel like aesthetics are quite important to me in a game. Like if it's like an RPG or something, like I think one thing that's really remiss is if you are playing a game and you get a new item, you get like a new breastplate or whatever, and then you put it on your character and it looks no different. Like your character always looks the same. I think that's remiss of a game. But I feel like in something like League of Legends, where you're playing different characters or whatever, I feel like cosmetically it's not that important for the game. For like the game, if your character looks slightly different. I own skins because I like the look of some of them, but I don't spend like all my income on these skins.
it'd probably be quite bad if you did.
It would be. You'd have all the skins in like 4 weeks. Actually,
Depends
no.
how much you're own.
That's true.
There's a lot of skins.
But I mean, I think it's quite clever. I think the reason that people are willing to pay so much is because you're not actually paying real money for these skins. You're paying in-game currency, which you buy with real money. So you don't see how much the skins actually cost.
Yeah.
I think it's very clever because it's like,
They're
I'm not
really-
spending like £5 or whatever on this skin. I'm spending 900 RP, which is like, oh,
As it turns out, they're really expensive.
yeah. Like,
This one is. Wait, what? I'm saying this skin
yeah, the Risen
is 1,350 RP.
Okay.
And I don't know how much RP costs to buy,
it
but it sounds
depends
like
Okay.
sounds like quite a lot.
Oh, it's
That's Indian rupee.
I know.
1,500 Indian rupees.
Okay, so-
Like, can I pay anything? No! Indian
Okay,
rupees.
so a right point. So to buy, wait, so how much was it? 1,000.
1,350.
Okay, so 1,380 right points can be bought with the equivalent of $10 US.
Oh my gosh.
So that
Oh
that's
my
$6.
nerd.
If it has British pound, 1,580, which is the like nearest. So that's £9. So it's it's probably about £8.
That's a lot.
Is it worth it?
So
No,
look,
no, it's not.
If you think about it that way, like if you buy if you buy 6 skins for a champion, right, and like quite a few champions have 6 skins,
Yeah.
then you're spending what you might spend on like a whole game.
Yeah, like imagine, like the thing is, it's a free game and it's lovely and it's free to play and everyone can play it for free. But once you've got to the stage where a lot of players have, they're like, oh, it's free, so I'm willing to spend like this much on this, or I'll just buy some right points, whatever. But I think a lot of players on League of Legends have spent more on that game than
Sort of the £30 you would expect to
Yeah.
pay.
Yeah,
For the-
for
yeah.
the game.
like And that's outside of anyone who spends real money on champions, whatever. Because you can spend real money on that as well, even though you can unlock that with in-game currency. I think it's just really, really weird that people would do that and how much they'd be willing to spend on it. Because I've spent some. We'll go to you in a minute.
Yeah, I know. I was sitting here waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
Simon.
But
We'll get on to that.
It's not. So Simon, let's have a talk about your.
Let's get
problem.
on to you.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about your problem. It's actually not a podcast. It's a help.
It's telling the world
It's a
about
help.
my problems.
So Simon, can you tell us how much you spent on World of Warcraft?
So we calculated it a while back.
Since you can't spend much. So I think you discontinued your account.
I have discontinued. So I've spent on World of Warcraft at least £300, I'd say. And that is solely for.
That's just subscription.
That's 2 or 3.
That's subscriptions and game releases.
That's 3 expansion packs and
What was the time span?
quite a sizable
It's quite a
amount
lengthy
of
time span. It's like 2 or 3 years. It must be.
yeah, quite a sizable amount of game time.
Yes,
which
but
I've
like, okay, imagine you remove all of the DLC, like the expansion packs, because expansion packs usually cost. That's a fair enough thing, kind of. So you'd buy like, how much do you reckon you spend in subscription? Do you reckon you spend more than £60 on subscription over your lifetime for that game?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you reckon you spent over £100 on that game subscription time?
Yes.
Okay, so how many games could you buy with £100, Simon? On a Steam sale.
Two or 3
On a
Steam
Steam
sale.
So
Like,
many.
many.
Quality games, like we're gonna say 8 out of 10 are better games.
I'm gonna go with I don't know 6.
Yeah, so like you spend 6 or 7 games on World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel deep down?
Was it worth it?
Was it worth it?
I've had a lot of plays on that game.
Wait, you didn't say you didn't. You were about to say you had a lot of fun, but you did.
Well, I have also had a
Did
lot
you?
of fun.
You said a lot of plays.
It gives you fun and despair.
Equal.
I've had many despairing times in my rage group.
Your rage group.
My raid group.
You said rage group.
Well, it makes me rage sometimes as well. There's times when I'm doing 5 times as much damage as someone. I'm like, if you just weren't here, we'd be doing better.
Brutal.
Oh, that's cold.
Simon's an ice cold raid leader. He doesn't tolerate failure.
So we're talking about how much. So what do you think about these microtransactions? What do you think that should there be? How much do you reckon they should be? Should they be decreased in price? Should they be removed? Should they be given? Should games not be free, but they should allow others to be bought with in-game currency? What do you think? We're going to go around. We'll start with Simon. We'll go to Phil, and then we'll go to Sam last. Simon, what do you think should be like the course of action on microtransactions?
I'm not a huge fan of them. I'd prefer it much more if you could buy everything with in-game currency and everything wasn't outrageously pricey.
Okay. So you're saying maybe put a bigger upfront cost at the door, but then everything inside can be bought with in-game currency.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I can see that. So Phil,
I don't know. For me, like I just think if it's cosmetics, then you know what, fine. Like I'm not into that. Some people are microtransactions, whatever. But if it's sort of gameplay or like content related stuff, like there was a big fuss about sort of Mass Effect 3 because was it Mass Effect?
Yeah, Mass
Effect. Yeah, they kept like a whole
DLC.
race out for the DLC.
Well, they put a storyline.
I think if it's big content like that, I think I'd rather they just included it and then incorporated the price that you would have had to pay for the DLC
into the game,
into the upfront cost.
Yeah, so
because I just basically I want to pay my money and then have it all.
Yeah. But you're saying like
I'm willing to pay more if that means
but some cosmetics, you mean like you can live without cosmetics?
Yeah, I can live without cosmetics.
So if people want to, like a lot of times, like art, when the game's being finalised, the art department have nothing to do. Like them making a couple of things that you can buy. Like that's.
I think for cosmetics, microtransactions are fine. For
anything more than that.
For things that actually really affect more than just the visuals of the game.
Yeah.
I'd want that included in the upfront cost.
Okay, I can see that. And Sam, do you want
to? I'd back that up. It kind of makes it look like they're either trying to exploit you, or they just not fully thought out their game. Like if they're trying to bring out new stuff later, like more campaign stuff and stuff. I'd quite like to have that up front.
Okay. So to conclude, Simon loves World of Warcraft.
And
Phil,
whether we should pay for subscriptions, that's another debate for another time.
So to
But
sum
I do
up,
love World of Warcraft.
to sum up, Simon loves World of Warcraft. Phil hates EA.
No, I don't
and
hate EA.
Sam doesn't like people who play video games. On that bombshell, we're going to end this show. I'd like to thank my guests Sam, Simon, and Phil.
Anytime.
There'll be links in the description to all of the content that is related to this show. We're going to have links to.
Will there be links to hot chicks?
Who knows? We'll have like a hot chick of the day. There'll be links to the blog, Game Theory Insights, that brings out this podcast.
I mean, chicken breast.
There'll also be links to the Facebook and Twitter page that you can go follow. And hopefully, we'll see you again shortly for another podcast. Don't know when it'll be. I'm not going to say weekly because I don't know. I can't promise that.
You can't.
But thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned a little something on the way. And I don't have a sign-off line.
Simon!
Simon!